Can I tell you something? We live in a very beautiful country, Malaysia. It is made up of 3 races: the Malays, Chinese, the Indians, and so many other ethnic races, which are the Kadazans, the Portuguese, the Eurasians, the Ibans, and the Dayaks, and so forth. Now, all of us have been living together for over 150 years, united, and because of this unity and togetherness and respectfulness for each other, we have been able to have economic growth over the last 40 over years and become a very great economic force. Now, among all these races, I'm so happy to be with the Malays, because they are the most respected people I've ever come across. They are courteous, they have adat, they have respect for each other. Just give you an example. This has happened to me many times. If I were to come across to ask somebody some information, I'll be most happy to get it from a Malay, because I always found that they are so happy and delighted to help one another. Once upon a time, or I said many times this has happened, I was stranded in one place, and I approached a few people to help me to get there, because I didn't have a car. And within a short period of time, it was the Malay guide who stopped what he was doing and helped me to take me to the place in his car in a very short period of time. So this is something which I don't think we can ever get and experience in any country. We feel so much peaceful and harmonious. Because of this, the ruling party have been given and trusted to rule this country for such a long time, over 40 years, and they have abused the trusted given to them by the public, by the Raya. And because of that, today we have a great issue with our country, the way the country is being ruled, because we have grown to become a very corrupt country. We have submitted ourselves to this regime which has abused the privilege given to them, or the trust we have given to them to rule this country. Now, I think it's come to a time whereby we must start to stop this Rasuah, because if we do not address this Rasuah now, which has been going on over the last 40-50 years, and it's only become bigger and bigger until it's becoming talking about billions of dollars of corruption, which has been going to affect our culture and our country in the long term. Now, previously, when I was younger, Rasuah was only small, very, very minor. We just maybe $50, help the policeman and here and there. But over time, thousands and thousands of cases have already been revealed in the news, but nobody has ever been penalized, or hardly penalized. They always come out with the insufficient evidence and never been proven in the court of law. So many of them have gone scot-free, and the current government has been taking advantage of the easygoing people here who have just allowed it to be continuously going and giving them the trust to give them a few years to improve themselves. But so far we don't see it changing. It is just getting worse and worse. Before you know it, Malaysia is going to be a bankrupt country if it is not addressed immediately. Now, just give you a little bit of background about how this Rasuah has been started to get serious. Was after our independence, we had a very smooth growth of a country because of our good leaders. But over time, these leaders started to show their actually true colors. We show them how they have been actually mismanaging the country by revealing how some people have benefited from giving away certain privileges to certain people, and this is what we call abusing the governance given to them. So in 1986 we had a voice from a leader who was trying to change this system of Rasuah. It was called the Semangat 46, but unfortunately, due to the inexperience and maybe the not a very strong fervent leader, this thing was curtailed in a very short period. He submitted to the sweet talk and the influence of the ruling party, and he went back into his normal thing. He was not able to win one of the first election. It was wiped out. Then it continued, these Rasuahs continued to go on. The country got famous. But now there is a new force. Just give you a little bit of background of this new force. It started in 1998. Many of you may not know how it started, because what you see now, it is just the pinnacle of this Rasuah, pinnacle of this force. So in 1998, a leader, he was chucked out of the government because he was trying to change the system from inside. But unfortunately, he was imprisoned, and he was had to so that the ruling parties could continue their activities. But after he was imprisoned, because of a change of prime minister who was a bit more open-minded, he was able to start again the reformasi. Now, when he was doing the Ceramahs in 1998, this fervor of unitedness was beginning to start, and it felt there would be a threat to the ruling party. So they arrested him. But that fever of togetherness and reformasi did not stop, because the fever started to grow. And when in the first sign of the breakthrough of this fever came over 10 years later, in 2008, when we saw a change in a few states of the government. But again, due to some parties, some groups which were really looking at some short-term gain, submitted, and our change couldn't proceed quick enough. But this leader kept the bangkitkan, informing the people to rise to the occasion, rise to this change, making them aware of this Rasuah. But it was not a very easy course. He has submitted now, given 20 years, and built a great following. I would like to show you that actually, if we do not support this cause now, this Rasuah is going to be already will be out of hand. Now, this G15 is going to be the turning point for our country. I see a fever again coming, but there's also a lot of people who feel disenchanted because of what happened in 2018. I would think if a person, a leader, can be imprisoned and less like a martyr in prison and still keep fighting, his whole family has been coming out to change this, make this thing aware of a change. In a crumbling government, there will always be one leader who will surface, and I think we have had one leader now, because to be sustained a force so many years, for 20 years or 22 years, it is not easy. One average person would have submitted, just like the previous leaders which tried to change this. Now we can only do this if we all put aside all our differences and sweet talk from the current party, the ruling party. Don't get influenced by the ruling party's sweet talk and goodies which they will be always starting to talk about the disharmony among us and disunity, which is just going to tarnish and hamper our change. So many of us always like to have a harmonious country, but we also need to be respectful and we will be united. With Bangkit, we have to rise together. This is not just one party, one race problem. It is a Malaysian problem. It is everybody's problem. It's the Malays, the Chinese, the Indians, the Kazakh, the Ibans. Everybody's problem is to get this Rasuah out of our country. And it's the only way to go is to stay at the ballot box, to come at the ballot box. There's no point talking and complaining, and at the end of the day, when it comes, the only chance we are not going to have any uprising, we are not going to have any protests, we only can change it at the ballot box. Now today we don't have to give excuses, as again I say, the leader can sacrifice so much for his life and so many others from other races have also come together, united to bring this change. Just like in 1956, it took 10 years before we really got independence, and we got it without a fight. So similarly, in this chance, I would like to everyone to come out on the November 19 to express your vote and to vote for this leader, because I don't think we will ever get another leader if we don't take it now. So look forward to seeing everyone coming back to vote. Do not give excuses to ourselves, but to give the fight and have battle at the ballot box. See you on November 19 for our G15, and we have a new Prime Minister after that on November 20th. Thank you.